Shri Ganesh ji will speak something about Maharishi once. Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. In prostrations at the Holy Feet of Babaji, I shall try to fulfill his order to me that I should talk on the habits of Sri Bhagavan. My little Shastra Vasanas raised a question whether Jnanis had any habits. Then when Papaji has specifically said habits, there must be a purpose, there must be some particular reason. So I refer to the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary. It said, habit means a settled, regular tendency or practice. So what is the practice of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi? The one and only practice he had was cooking. And he is not an ordinary cook, but a master cook. In his Ashtotram, a Namavali comes, Mahabhagaya Namaha. He is the greatest cook. And what does he cook? In the other Namavali comes, Agha Samharine Namaha. He kills the ego of those who turn to him earnestly. And what is that Agha? Agha means destruction. Bandhamochakaya Namaha. That destruction is release from bondage. So killing is his most avowed habit. Ganapati Muni sings of Maharshi as the greatest cook, the greatest killer, who makes very delicious dishes to Lord Arunachala of the egos which come to the lotus feet of Ramana Maharshi. What is this killing? Removal of obstacles or obstacle that is revealing the truth, the ignorance that has been destroyed by the very gracious glance of Maharshi. In fact, Maharshi laughs at this concept of destroying the ego. When he was asked, what is the definition of self-realization? Maharishi mockingly made a profound statement maybe in the tone of mocking, but it is one of the most profound statements I have ever come across. He said self-realization is the destruction of falsehood which has never been there and the establishment of truth which has always been there. The destruction of falsehood which has never been there and the establishment of truth which has always been there. And in this killing process, if you want an example, a brain which has been killed, which has been destroyed by Ramana Maharshi, he is seated here, a standing example, our Papaji, because Bhagavan says, when adoring Arunachala, he says, he is one, beware of this man, this Arunachala hill. He kills you without killing. And in fact, he calls Arunachala, this is the medicine, the rare medicine which kills without killing. And Papaji is a standing example of having been killed without being killed. And he is doing the same thing here. What Maharshi has been doing, dealing with jivas, egos, and destroying them, Papaji is doing it in a most pleasant way, making us laugh. And he takes us by the hand when we are just laughing, just pulls us within. And this, I have lived in Ramanashram for 30 years, doing service to old devotees. Perhaps it may not be out of place if I tell you that I have carried on my shoulders nearly 40 or 50 old devotees to the burial ground, attending on them in the last days and looking after them. And that's the only way to have satsang with Mahatmas, to live with them, to serve them, is the only way to know this trick of killing. It is not a technique which we can learn from books or even by practice, but it has to be given to us by Mahatmas. I have seen nearly 40 to 50 people realized Bhagwan's devotees, from the Maharaja to a sweeper. Literally a Maharaja, and other grades of people to be literally a sweeper. If I tell all the names, Papaji will remember all that, but it may be out of place. So Maharshi's biggest habit, biggest occupation was to remove the falsehood in us which has never been there. It is that simple. When Papaji was narrating today, I was simply thrilled to listen to him. It is not there. This is the message of Maharshi. We hold on to the body, and who holds on to the body? Body is inert. There is somebody who pretends to be holding on to the body. And that's why Maharshi says the falsehood which has never been there, when you inquire, it will vanish. So killing the ego of the earnest seekers, as Papaji said, that fire of inquiry, fire of longing to know the truth, burns away whatever it is, but why can't we get that fire? Just by willing it, wishing it, we can't get it. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. This is Maharshi's example. Just by wishing to be a millionaire, you can't become a millionaire. Just to have this fire in every one of us, we may wish it very honestly, very sincerely, but just by wishing it, because wishing is also just a thought, and when a thought is burned, then only this light is there. That light has to burn, it is a vicious circle, and that vicious circle can be broken only at the holy feet of masters. I would like to refer to some of the personal habits of Bhagavan also. Maharshi was very insistent that he should be available to all 24 hours. Papaji knows this fact. Perhaps Maharshi is the only known saint who has insisted on this, that he should be available to all, to have darshan. Of course, Bhagavan gave another interpretation for this darshan also. He said, when somebody mocked at why this Maharshi wants to give darshan all the time, and Bhagavan smiled and said, yes, I want to be available to all so that I can have darshan of all these Arunachala Swarupa. He just twisted the darshan word. He said, yes, I want to have darshan of all these Arunachala Swarupa. In fact, during Kartikeya festival, millions of people used to go around the hill. Most of them are villagers, dirty, so-called dirty people. They used to have a dip in the wells and tanks of Tiruvannamalai, which if there was no rain, in the summer will be stinking, only little water. They will have a dip, and with wet cloths they will come to prostrate to Bhagavan. And as brainy people would always do, people thought that these dirty people, smelling people going near Bhagavan may cause inconvenience to him. So a small barricade which was around Maharshi, the management had ordered, bring it to the doors. There are 2 doors to come in and go out, near the doors, so that people will not come near Maharshi. But in the night, when attendants started removing the barricades and making it in the way in which they were ordered to do, Maharshi asked, what are you doing? He said, this is office order, that these barricades should be removed and then put this way so that people will not come next to you. Why do they not want them to come near me? The attendant said, because they are very smelling and they are very dirty, they will be making a lot of noise, so they want that Bhagavan should not be disturbed. Bhagavan shed 2 tears and then said, is it so? And Bhagavan was the most obedient servant, just as he is the greatest master. Bhagavan was the simplest servant also, in obedience. He said, oh, that was the rule, you have to put the barricade. But they have not said anything about my sofa, isn't it? He said, yes. Then bring the sofa near the barricade. And near the barricade, the sofa was brought in. I am telling you, bring the sofa near the barricade. And then this attendant was flabbergasted. Because Bhagavan is not breaking the rule, but also in a way he is breaking the rule that people will be coming near Bhagavan. So he asked Bhagavan, still they will be stinking, because if I bring the sofa here, they will be stinking. Then again Bhagavan shed a few tears. Do you know who are all these people who are coming here? I want to have darshan of them. Every one of them is Arunachala Swarupa. Till the last day, as Babaji knows, he insisted on having darshan. Night he was to drop the body. In the early morning, all the doctors wanted to cancel the darshan. They were having darshan of Bhagavan in the queue. Bhagavan refused. So Bhagavan's that grace of glance, till the last moment he wanted jivas like us to make use of it. With a single glance, he used to give that state where the truth is not camouflaged by the mind. I have interviewed, like my dear friend David, in the 60s and 70s, many devotees who have been with Bhagavan. And I had a small questionnaire also. The very first question would be, how did you come to Maharshi? And the second question would be, what was your first reaction? Like that the questions will go on. For the first question, the answers always differed, how they came to the Maharshi. But for the second question, the answer was always the same from all sorts of people, Westerners, Indians, men, women, children, old age people, sick people, learned people, unlearned people. The answer was always the same ditto. When we came to the presence of Maharshi, he just looked at us, looked at me, and I was in peace. People may use different words. I was in samadhi or I was in stillness. And the peace that I had never experienced before. This is the same answer I got from every one of them. That by the look, Maharshi could put them into their true state of non-dual peace, which Maharshi repeatedly said is your nature is happiness. How Babaji is doing here, by just making you happy and then be in that state. Maharshi by his one look could put us into that state of unalloyed happiness, maybe for a few seconds, maybe for a few minutes, maybe for an hour, a few hours. But everyone, very first sight, very first meeting with Maharshi was to have that state of altitude and peace. When later on, Maharshi labeled it, gave a label to that. He said, Muruganar used to question Maharshi, what did you do to all these people who came to? Maharshi smiled and then said, I gave them a foretaste of what they are, what they have forgotten. They are that state, but they have forgotten that state. So I just gave them a pre-glimpse of what they are. This and for this sole purpose of giving the pre-glimpse, Maharshi was making himself available all 24 hours. When he said cooking, he was the great cook. In the literal sense also, he was one of the greatest cooks. He knew all the culinary arts to its perfection. In fact, as Babaji knows, whenever any newcomer came or even old people, known people came, freshly on that day, either in the morning or the afternoon, noon or in the evening, Maharshi's first indication would be go to the kitchen, have food. Maharshi gave so much of importance to sending anyone and everyone into the kitchen. And there is a funny story connected with this also. I hope Babaji will permit me to state that T.B. Ramachandraya was an advocate in Madras, and on Friday night, in those days there were no buses, they have to take a train. So the evening train they will take from Madras and change at Villupuram and then reach morning, Saturday morning. And then give Bhagwan Saturday and Sunday. Sunday night they will take a train and Monday morning they will reach Madras to attend their professions. Most of the business people, all the workers from other places used to do like that, Saturday and Sunday. So this T.P. Ramachandra he told me this, will be waiting from Wednesday onwards, he will be in a mood to go to Arunachala and be at the feet of Master. So from Thursday, he was having a fast. And then on Friday morning, he had so much of work, he felt, anyhow, Saturday morning I am going to the ashram. Bhagavan will ask me to go and have breakfast, so I can go and have a lot of idlis there. So there were no paid cooks in those days. So one of the ladies told me that of the 4 or 5 cooks, her cooking used to be liked by Bhagavan. She gave the reason also that Bhagavan liked fully cooked things, sambar and other things, other dishes have to be very well boiled. And many people, other cooks, they used to take it away a half or 3/4. This lady used to boil it to the satisfaction of Maharshi. So he went and told her, today you have to do this, some 6 or 7 varieties of, because so many vegetables had come, so many other ingredients had come. So he told her, you have to prepare this. So she was delighted. Bhagavan always likes me so much. And today he has asked me to make all these dishes. She prepared very delicious dishes. And she requested Chinnaswamy that today please permit me, I will serve Bhagavan. So she went and served all these dishes, little. Of course, as Papaji knows, Bhagavan was to be served always the last. There is also a story there that usually Bhagavan used to be served first, and sometime afterwards he heard that in the last rows they were not even getting enough vegetables, anything to eat at all. So from when he heard that, he said, I should be served last. Everyone, only last will be served to Maharshi. So this lady that day served Maharshi, and she was waiting for compliments from Maharshi. But do you know what Maharshi did? He just put everything together. He wanted Bhagavan to taste each dish and then compliment her. It is wonderful. But Bhagavan mixed everything together and there was no compliments coming from him. And she was so disappointed. And she said, Bhagavan, what are you doing? What horror you are doing like this? You wanted me to cook all this deliciously and you are... Then Bhagavan smiled and then said, I have got only one taste. You have got multiple tastes. Even in eating, he thought that there is only oneness. There is Eka Ruchi. You are all interested in multifarious Ruchis. I have got only Eka Ruchi. Coming to the dining hall, I would like to ponder over my own personal reminiscence with Bhagavan, because a few friends asked me that I should say something, my contact with Maharshi. When I was 4 years old, I was in the kitchen watching the cooks taking buckets full of things to be served, and Bhagavan was seated and I was inside the kitchen. Dining hall is attached to the kitchen, and I used to be a favorite of all these cooks. So I can play my arrogance also there, mischief, they used to tolerate. That day I started crying that I want to go and serve myself. And in the young age I used to be very short. My father used to call me only Sharky, Kutai. So I was less than the bucket. And I was insisting that I should serve. And I was not allowing them to take any buckets. I was making a big scene there. No, and then crying aloud. Bhagavan somehow heard this, what is happening in the kitchen, he asked. Then one of the ladies went and told him that Ganesh is making a big galata there. He is not allowing us all to serve. He says, what does he say? He wants to serve. Oh, why not serve? Bhagavan, how can he serve? The buckets are all so big. How can he do that? Oh, that's the problem. Then put in a small cup powdered salt and a small spoon and give it to him and send him to me. Bhagavan is seated, nothing is served. So they gave me this, a cup full of salt and a spoon, small spoon, asked me to go to Maharshi. I went to Bhagavan and Bhagavan looked at me, he was seated already. He said, you want to serve? I said, yes. Do you know how to serve? I said, no. Do you know how much to serve? No, I do not. Do you know where to serve? No, I do not. Oh, no. Then do you know how much to take? No, I do not. Do you know where to play and put it? No, I do not. But still you want to serve? Yes, I want to serve. Maharshi was so amused with this. So he said, take this spoon and show it to me. How much? Not that much. Put it. That is the quantity you should serve. So the left hand topmost corner of the leaf, and you should serve everyone the same equal quantity. And as I just now said, Maharshi has to be served the last, but I broke the rule and served him first, and he appreciated it. Yes, that much you want to serve. This was one blessings I got from Bhagavan. And another incident was, there was one Mrs. Eleanor Palai Noi from Hollywood. She's a very staunch devotee of Bhagavan. She's always be crying. And whether in the presence of Bhagavan or otherwise also, she is always immersed in Bhagavan and always in joy she will be crying. And as a small boy, I loved her so much, I used to go and sit in her lap. And after a few years, when I was 7 or 8 years old, again when Eleanor Palai Noi came, I was coming to prostrate to Bhagavan. Bhagavan ridiculed me. Go, now go and sit. Eleanor has come again, Noi has come, go and sit. And I became very shy. But this Eleanor Palai Noi, with whom at the age of 3 I used to be always with her, in the ashram there is a custom, at 10 o'clock all the children will be fed so that they may be hungry also. Also at 11:30 when Bhagavan used to take food, they wouldn't come and disturb others. So at 10 o'clock all the children will be fed. And that day I refused to come out of the lap of Noi, and along with her went into the dining hall, and a leaf plate was put. I sat in front of her and insisted that I will eat only from her leaf. This was a big horror for the Brahmins. And from the leaf of a non-Brahmin, that too, milechas, that is, foreigners are considered milechas, less than the worst. To eat from that leaf was a real horror. It is not an imagined thing, it was a real horror for them. So they were trying to persuade me to come inside. It's teased me, tempted me, we will give you this sugar, we will give you some sweet. Nothing. I said, no, I will sit over here. And Bhagavan was just looking down, and when they tried to take me by force, I started shouting. Then Bhagavan looked up and then said, what's the matter? They went and told him that Bhagavan Ganesh is refusing to come away. He is insisting that he will eat only from Noi's leaf. Bhagavan just looked at me on the leaf and then Noi, and then said, Bhagavan again smiled and then said, no, he is not insisting that he wants to eat from the Noi's plate. He has never seen anybody eating with a spoon. Noi was the only person who used to eat with the spoon. So Ganesh is fascinated that somebody can eat with something else. He can eat only by the hand. So he is fascinated by the spoon. You bring a leaf with something served on that, and then put a spoon on that, and then ask him, he will come. So they did the same thing. They put a spoon and then a leaf plate. The moment I saw the spoon, I was so happy I went out. So Bhagavan, his understanding of situations is very astounding. How he could solve, just as he could destroy the ego, he could fulfill even the commonest, even the simplest, perhaps the most insignificant desire like this. Also he could perceive. Nobody, neither my mother, my father, or grandfather, or any of the very earnest devotees or the cooks could not understand this. They thought that I was only insisting on eating from her plate. But Maharshi could see that my attraction was for the spoon, which I myself did not know. And Maharshi could see that it is the attraction for the spoon. The moment I saw the spoon and the leaf, I went away. Maharshi's this aspect, and of course Maharshi's love for animals and trees. Maharshi used to say, why can't you call man a walking tree and tree a standing man? This was his appreciation of trees. When to pluck the unripe mangoes to make pickles, they wet the mango trees and got the unripe mangoes, and there was a heap of leaves underneath. When Bhagavan was passing by, he cried. He said, "Is this the way to show gratitude to one who is giving its fruits? Can't you have just a little be sensitive and get up in tree and then pluck those unripe mangoes? Should you beat them?" And in the whole life of Maharshi, he had never plucked one leaf, one flower with his hands. And of course, you all know his kindness to the animals. The other day also I was telling about the dogs. I want to narrate one moving incident. Maharshi used to have very punctual in his habits, that is getting up or going to bed or going to the answer of nature's call. Everything is very timely. But sometimes his stomach would be upset, and that's also because in the kitchen they will prepare something which will not suit his stomach. On that day, in the night, he had to go for answering nature's call, and very rarely it used to happen. And in those days, cheetahs were roaming about up on the hill, mostly near the ashram also. But Maharshi insisted by taking a torch, and then he will go to the hill, and an attendant will be going behind him. But Maharshi was very shy, so the attendant had to stay far behind a wall, and Maharshi will get up and go the other side. And Maharshi, as I said, will come out within a particular fixed time. And devotees were always afraid that cheetahs might be hiding somewhere there. So they were always in alert. And that day, the deputed time was gone. Second, more than twice its time was gone. And more than that time when it was gone, and Maharshi, there was no sign of Maharshi coming back. The attendant got alarmed and got over the steps, got over the wall. And then when he went to the other side, he saw Maharshi it was so dark, and he could hear only a sound of some licking, the sound that will make like that. Only sound was heard. And he saw with his trained eyes, he could see Maharshi was seated, and then a sickly, stinking, bone-like dog was licking Maharshi all over the body. Maharshi had sat down, 6-footer, like Papaji. Maharshi was a 6-footer. Very great difficulty only he could sit down on the floor. Papaji knows that. Without help he can't sit down, or he cannot stand up from the ground. From the couch he can get up. So he sat down, and was talking to that dog. Then a dog, this stinking, sickly dog, oozing out with pus. It is licking him all over. Porunda, nirtda, porunda, enough, stop, enough. But he all face everywhere. And then this attendant, when he came to know, realized that some dog is next to him. He wanted to beat it and then drive it out. He said, don't do that. He has been trying to come to me for the past 20 days. He says that he tried to come to me and you people heartlessly drove him out. Now he has cheated you all. He has cheated you all and he is having his heart's content. And don't disturb this. Then Maharshi requested the dog, Urma, is it enough? Perhaps the dog said enough, I do not know. Then he got up and then walked. The culmination of the story is the next day they found the dog dead. The early morning when they came out at the foot of the hill, the dog was dead. And of course, it was given a ceremonious burial. Maharishi's kindness to animal. In fact, when once a dog was trying to reach him where Maharshi was seated on the couch, everyone started to choo. Bhagavan got so annoyed. Why do you do this? Just as you want to show your love to me, it is also showing love to me. Why do you watch? Why do you treat it as dog? Just as you have got a human shirt, it has got a dog shirt. Can't you see that? So I was always moved by the way Bhagavan treated the animals and his compassion for everything and everyone. Once they were trying to beat a snake, Adi, kuttu, vettu, like that, kill, they were shouting. Beat. Bhagavan was so horrified, he said, stop it. If they are hit like that, if they are killed like that, will they like it? He cannot tolerate any harm, even any disturbance. When monkeys were driven out, Maharshi's great sympathy said, it is their land, we have occupied them. If only they had the capacity to talk, they will complain about us because we have occupied their land. Can't you be patient with them? Can't you just, they are so compassionate towards us. And why can't you be compassionate towards them? From the highest killing of the ego, the lowest seeing the simpleness of a child that it wants only a spoon. Sadhguru Ramana was so compassionate. But when I say this, I have to point out two apparent defects also in Maharshi. That is, many people used to ask me whether Bhagavan ever got angry. Because even to attribute some anger to Bhagavan was so sacrilegious to them. They used to ask me, expecting me that I should say, no, he never had anger. But I used to disappoint them by saying, yes, he had anger on two occasions, specific occasions. That is, when he used to be served with food, anything eatable, more than the others, he got very angry. He wanted equal distribution. While talking about equal distribution, I would like to tell you, during the war time, chocolates were not available. One devotee, Western devotee, brought a bar of chocolate, and at that time in the hall there were 36 people, including Bhagavan. So Bhagavan said, make 36 pieces of this. You can imagine in this, how can you make 36 pieces? But that's, Bhagavan was so brutal in that equal distribution. Mahatmas, all Mahatmas give, but Maharshi was insisted on equal distribution. Always insisted on that. So when he used to be served more than the other, or a better variety, one lady brought puris, keeping a cup on top of it, puris made in ghee, and the rest of the puris in oil. And That lady perhaps thought she was very wise, she could deceive Bhagavan. And since she was an old lady, Bhagavan accepted the puris and then ate it and the rest were given. Then when it was all over, he called that lady. Do you know today you have given me poison? He said. And that lady started crying. Yes, when you treat me apart from others, you are giving me poison, he said. So his insistence on absolute equality is something I have never found in any other saint's lives. And this, whenever they break this rule of showing equality, one lady, Sir Cook, a doctor had said that Bhagavan is having some problem. If he only takes curd, yogurt, it will be helpful to him. So Chinnaswami asked this lady cook, Bhagavan, for everyone there were some 300 people there. So they all could not be given curd. Without giving all curd to all, Bhagavan will not accept curd. So, but Bhagavan has to be given this curd, what to do? She said, don't worry, I will do that. So she took in a ladle, big ladle, curd and almost dipped it to the surface level of buttermilk, and she went while serving it to all others. She served buttermilk as if she went and brought this, and with that ladle she put to Bhagavan curd. How can you cheat our master? So he looked up and then again said the same word. Do you know what you have served me? You have served me poison. And that lady got so vexed. For 3 days she had fever. And this was reported to Maharshi that Subhalashrama is having fever. And why he asked? Because your look she could not bear and your words she could not bear. Maharshi smiled and that's all gone. That 3 days ago, 3 days ago it happened. Did I get angry with her? I got angry only with that wrong act. Ask her to come. So immediately her fever also went away. So when he is served, he is treated different from others or served more than the equal share of others, he got angry. Not once, like these 2 or 3 occasions he got angry. Another aspect where he used to get angry is if somebody goes and complains. Complains whether it is factual or not. Maharshi used to say, I know one particular incident which was a factually true thing. This particular person went and complained about another fellow devotee that this is what he had done. Maharshi was so angry. He said, are you perfect? You have come to complain about another? Are you perfect? If you are perfect, will you come and complain? And Bhagavan gave such an angry look. This man started shuddering and then said, remember, when you see wrong in others, it is not there, it is here. If there is no wrong here, the registration of the so-called others wrong will not get registered here. There are so many things happening. Does it get registered? When it does not like her, then whatever she does, I commit into memory and done. So if there is my dislike for her creates all this. So Maharshi said, when you see wrong in others, and that wrong is not in others, it is in you. So whenever people went and complained about others, however true, however factual it may be, one did not listen to that. He said, perfect yourself. And in one occasion he said, it is Maya, be careful. Don't think that you are, when you have come to complain about something else, that means you are already caught up in Maya. Relieve yourself first, perfect yourself first before complaining about others. And in this respect, I remember people used to complain to Bhagavan that whatever works he had done, particularly Ulladanarpadu, the 40 verses on reality, scholars used to go and tell Bhagavan, this particular translation is not correct, it is wrong. Bhagavan will get very angry. The moment you see something wrong, why don't you do it right? Why do you complain? Why do you make it into a complaint? The very fact that you can see wrong there indicates that you know something right. So do right. Why your mind goes into the wrongness? Why don't you, if it is true, then you will rewrite it. So Maharishi's habits, as Papaji has put, are wonderful. Every one of us can emulate, have to emulate these at least. Nothing is harder, as Papaji has said. Our creating the mind, even Paul Brenton said, this Atma Vichara, self-inquiry, is the hardest thing. Bhagavan, you say it is the easiest, but we find it is the hardest. Maharshi smiled and then said, this is the surest way to handicap yourself. The thought that it is hardest, the thought that it is unattainable, the thought that it is difficult. Maharshi's words, the surest way to handicap yourself is this thinking. Maharshi, from the highest teaching to the lowest, every day, everything he attended, he did cooking. Early morning, 3:30, he got up, cut vegetables along with others, and every time he taught some lesson or other. Once one of the attendants, when he was cutting vegetables, he looked at the clock. So Maharshi asked, what are you doing? No, I want to meditate in the hall. He said, see how you are cheating yourself. When you are cutting, if you give total attention to the cutting, that is meditation. Now how your mind is not here, you think of meditation. Will that be meditation? You are not doing this. There, when you sit for meditation, you will be thinking about this cutting of vegetables. So doing work taken up at that moment is meditation. So like that, from morning 3:30, whatever he did, it was in perfection. And then he started cooking also. He will grind paste for cooking ingredients used to make, and then read newspapers, and then read letters, and available all the time. Even in bathroom, he was never alone. He had no privacy. In the night, in the hall, the small wood hall we call it, that was his bedroom, that was his audience room, that was his drawing room, that was his everything. And that Maharishi, every movement of him is worth emulating, and it is possible. It is possible. You can see examples. I have seen 50, 60 people of Bhagavan's devotees who have emulated them. In fact, moving with them has given me this courage even to sit next to Papaji. I don't deserve this, but the blessings of his old devotees, his Mahatmas, give me this courage to sit here, because everyone is Ramana. Everyone is Ramana. Everyone is only that Atma. When Brenton tried to corner Maharshi used to say, dive within, then you will reach the source. Brenton perhaps wanted to mock at it. He said, with 400 people in this room, if each one of them dives within, will they reach 400 centers? Bhagavan smiled and said, whoever dives within reaches the self-same center. There is only one center. That center is without circumference. And that center is the silence into which Papaji is constantly trying to push us into that quietude. Before ending, I would like to narrate another small story about this be quiet. There was one German devotee. He came from Ceylon, Sri Lanka. He was a Buddhist. He had a lady saint in Sri Lanka, very beautiful, unrecognized lady saint. And his good fortune was to recognize her as a saint. So when he went to her, she told him, you go to Ramana Maharshi and receive his teaching. He will give you a teaching, receive the teaching and come to me. So he flew to Tiruvannamalai. He came to Tiruvannamalai, and then he was trying to more to obey his lady saint. he was asking Maharshi, please give me some Upadesa. And as Papaji knows, no private interview is given in Maharshi's audience. But when Maharshi is to go up the hill, you are permitted to go along with him and tell him something private. So this man, his name was Gauri Bala. To know German, this lady saint gave him the name Gauri Bala. He went along with Bhagwan and said, Bhagwan, I have come all the way from Sri Lanka. I want your Upadesa. Bhagwan turned and then said, Chumari. Chumari, he knew Tamil also, his German knew Tamil. Chumari means it has two connotations. When I am talking, if you start talking, I will say Chumari, so that I can continue my talk. Please keep quiet in a commanding way. But be quiet. Bhagwan said Summa Iru means, as Papaji says, be quiet. But he could not understand. So he thought Bhagwan was snubbing him, be quiet, in a commandment way. So after a few days, he felt that he has not received any Upadesa. But my lady saint, that saint has told me to get Upadesa and then come. So in the hall also, he asked Bhagwan, please give me Upadesa. Again he said Chumari. Again he took it as Maharshi's slogan. And third time also, when Maharshi was going up the hill, finally he said, Bhagwan, I am leaving this evening and please give me Upadesa. Again Bhagwan said Chumari. Again he took it as an insult and he was so disappointed. Went back to Ceylon, Sri Lanka, and then reported when he met this lady, says, with all excitement she asked, did you get Upadesa from Bhagwan? Did you get? He said, what? He just ignored me. And 3 times I thought of you, O saint. I was asking him to give Upadesa. All the 3 times he snubbed me. He didn't give me any Upadesa. I said, come on, what did you ask? What did he tell you? I said the same thing. Please give me Upadesa. Then what did he say? Chumari. She went into ecstasy. And the second time also he asked the same question. He said yes. Second time also what did he say? Chumari. Again she went into ecstasy. Third time also when he said, Bhagwan said Chumari, she went into ecstasy. And then said, this is the greatest Upadesa any saint ever has given to any individual. You fool, you have not received it. And this is what Gauri Bala himself told me, that this fool did not receive it from my master. So he tattooed in his arm, Summa
and come back. You carry on.
Yes.
I'm going to bathroom and come back.
Since Baba said, continue, I will continue. I thought I had concluded my talk. I will narrate at least one incident of an early devotee to how he came to Maharshi. This devotee, as you would all be very happy to know, the person who stopped Papaji from running away from Bhagwan. When he saw, according to his life, that when Papaji went and saw Maharshi for the first time in the old hall, he saw the same person who came to him at Lahore, and so Papaji thought he's a fake. He called me to come here, and then before I come, he has come and sat in the couch. And he's a fake sadhu, he's a fake master. So he was, in the morning he had reached the ashram and he rushed to get out. Then, in the life of Papaji, it comes, one devotee stopped me and said, why are you going away? You seem to have come from long distance. Why are you going away? Then Papaji said, no, he is a cheat. And narrated this. Then he told Papaji, Maharshi has never left ever since he entered.
While going to bathroom, Patanjali's origin. And Swamiji also didn't know, and Ganeshanji also didn't know, and I also didn't know. But due to this problem, how the memory works at a dangerous point. You see, I was speaking about Patanjali, about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He says, Chit Vritti Nirodha Iti Yoga. So about this vrittis, word cannot be translated into English. As far as I know, it could be said feeling or tendency, but vritti is not that. Can you give me a better word for...
Movement of the mind.
Huh?
Movement of the mind. Movement of the mind.
Movement of the mind, they say.
Can be true. When the mind, there's a movement in the mind, you have to arrest that movement. That is called yoga. Chit Vritti Nirodha Iti Yoga. And yoga is reunion of this jiva with the Paramatma. That's what it says. So whenever any tendency arises about anything in the mind, maybe of even God, even supreme power, reject it. That is what Patanjali says, you see. And also he says that aphorism number 84, he says, this yoga which I am speaking about can be attained by the grace of the Guru. That aphorism I still cannot trace. Very beautiful aphorism. What I tell you in the whole of this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and have spoken on many yogas and samadhis, Savikalpa, Chitvikalpa, all these can be attained by the grace of the Guru. It's a very small book and I will arrange to get it in English. This is published by Gita Press, Gorakhpur. I have read it many years before. And because I wanted to disappear myself, not seen by anybody else. And I could see everybody else. And you know, I have done much penance in the cemeteries, graveyards for many days. And why did I do? I may tell you the truth, because the British people were troubling, were not leaving our country. And we made a revolution, and I was the member of that revolution, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, and other people. and they all had been arrested and later on hanged. So I said, we can't fight the British. We cannot fight. They have large armies. And if we go and throw one bomb in the assembly, it doesn't work, you see. So I thought on a plan, if I get this yantra by which nobody can see me, so I will have one revolver and first shoot the DM of my district, you see, and go to the Chenab Club where only foreigners, Europeans and the English were allowed, not the people with black skin. So this was another thing in my mind to take revenge from them and have one revolver and shoot because nobody can find me. No police can find me. So it was lucky that this thing has happened without any armament. And the credit went to perhaps to Mahatma Ji and perhaps to revolutionary movement of Bhagat Singh. Ajit Singh, who went to Germany, and then he was associate of Subhash Chandra Bose, who raised the army, national army, you see. But that also failed. Anyway, we are happy now that we are free as friends, and many people are here. We were not against the British people, but against the misrule of these people and of Udwyer. I was there, General Udwyer, who had acted a roulette act with which the Indians can move like snake on the ground and not raise up, and whoever raised up, he was shot. And it was in the Jallianwala, except I'm going to political problem. Anyway, Jallianwala Bagh, there was only one door, and the people were demanding freedom. See, what you have to pay the price for the freedom. There were 5,000 people all around, one gate to enter, and there he planted cannon, howitzers, and fired everybody. And people on the houses, they hang the ropes to climb. Even those people were killed. Everybody was killed. And recently, last week, we are celebrated that Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, you see. So when you kill people, innocent people, women, children were killed by Udwyer. And later on, in a few years, there was another man from Punjab. He wanted to take revenge of Udwyer. So he had gone there, and perhaps he became VIP, showing his loyalty to the British Empire, and he could get an entry pass where Udwyer was speaking. He fired him. This man. So I was coming to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. It all included that. Freedom is freedom. Maybe freedom from the invaders, freedom from the ego, mind, everything. You have to win freedom for your own self, and it will not work if your circumstances are not available, patient, peaceful, and lovely. When the neighborhood is bad, you can't practice anything. So first look at the neighborhood. When your apartment can be very good, your street could be very good, but the neighborhood is finished. Once Kabir says, कबीरा तेरी झोपड़ी गल कटियन के पास, जो करेगा सो भरेगा, तू क्यों भया उदास. So Kabir was a saint. He lived in the locality of rascals and he could not mend them. He used to speak them and they used to sling on him, spit on him, and Kabir, you see. But then, and the last he kept quiet. He said, "Oh Kabir, you are living among the stupid people, so you keep quiet. Whosoever will reap, he will sow the fruit of his karmas." So he was Kabir, even he laid down his arms before the wicked people, you see. So ego is more wicked than the man. So you have to be careful when you have to meditate, sit quiet or search for freedom. See, these enemies don't touch you. This neighborhood of mind and ego and senses is not good. So when you will see it, then you will admire. And we are all living in the company of these wicked enemies. And we do not know when they are going to attack us. And we are happy with the attacks also. So let go. You keep quiet, sit down, and don't worry. Whosoever, whatever they are doing, they will reap the fruit of their karmas. So this is how to live wisely in this world. And very few wise people have lived like Socrates. The other day I was telling the story of Socrates, and also include George Bernard Shaw and Bertrand Russell also, because I have read many things about them and the friends who have gone to visit them and have told me this. Okay, good luck. You have to carry on. Have you?
I have concluded.
Huh?
I have already concluded, but because Papaji said, I have to continue. So I started the story.
That's okay.
Complete that story.
Okay. Because I need some recess after 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, due to my physical ailments. For that reason, I am sorry that one should not get up during the satsang, but I was forced to. So as you can forget a child, he can do, and he can do wherever he likes, nobody minds.